I'm going to start by going, hey, welcome to the We're All Mental podcast. It's a podcast where I think that we are all absolutely crazy, and I want to try to fix that.
That sounds like a good intro to me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm here with my friend Cable Record, who seems to be on a similar journey as me, trying to figure out this life of fatherhood, husbandhood, and trying to be present in our kids' lives while also running businesses, thinking of business ideas, and also trying to be present and love on our kids and our wives when we're home. I think that that's the biggest component of this, is the reason why I do what I do, which is, I'm a content creator for small brands, mainly construction companies, and I help them put their stuff online, but I need to do creative things so that way I can be present when I'm home. If I were to work in a cubicle, I'd be done with work at the end of the day, but I'd be thinking about doing the next creative thing, and I'd be spending time doing that instead of spending time with my wife and kids. That's what I do. That's how I have figured out that I need to be doing creative things for my work, and that's how I ended up doing this for the last 10 years and never putting myself on camera. So, although you can find me on YouTube sometimes.
Well, I think that's what we're all doing. We're trying to be the best versions of ourselves and give that to our kids and our wives and the people around us, and pursuing that through business and relationships and God, and always trying to, up ourselves another level.
Yeah, always trying to do better. So, Cable, we've texted back and forth about a bunch of different things over the last, few months. But what I did is I went to ChatGPT and I said, hey, what are some good questions that two dads in their 40s could be, talking about on a podcast? And we're going to start with number 1, which is how to be a present dad without losing your edge in business. What say you, Cable? And you actually introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, well.
So this is Cable Record.
Cable. I have 5 kids, a beautiful wife, good family, and I own 3 businesses, 4, I guess. We actually started a new business recently for our kids, and I think that's part of it, is you have to be present in the moments that you are home, and you have to be purposeful in making sure that those moments happen. I grew up, my dad always said that God could bless us in 5 days. He didn't have to work weekends, so he was always home. We always had dinner at night, always had, my mom always made dinner, and we ate as a family every day, and that's always been important to me growing up with my kids, is to make sure that we have those times, because I think that's a lot of what our society misses is that family time, and making sure that you have those moments together every night, together, so you can talk and decompress and figure out how your day went. And we're always trying to keep that happening, because as the kids get older, it gets harder. They're busy, they have their own lives, they're doing their own thing. And so I think that's the main thing to being a present dad, is making sure those moments happen, and make sure that you have dinner, make sure that you're not thinking about what you could be doing when you're with them. They're actually there.
Yeah. One of the things that my wife would really like me to do is put my phone away when I get home. And I don't do it. She can get frustrated at me for always looking at my phone and stuff, but my team is always texting me and stuff. And I need to get better at that. And maybe, talking about it here will help me do that, because it is important to, I want to show our kids that I work hard, but which, for those who don't know, I have 4 kids, not 5. I think 5 would be overdoing it. But all your kids are rad.
Well, I wanted 2 and she wanted 3.
You should have got 6. So I try to be present while also trying to stay connected, which I think is a major flaw of mine. But, one of the things that we do is we homeschool our kids, and so do you guys. So, like, tell me a little bit about your philosophy of why because all of your kids have been homeschooled.
Yeah.
All the way through. And
Mason graduates this week.
And Mason just is about to graduate. So, like, talk about that. My oldest is 14. So
I never cared about homeschooling. I didn't grow up thinking, I'm going to homeschool my kids. It never even crossed my mind. I went through the public system. It was a lot different back then. It was better than it is now. But my wife felt like God was telling her to homeschool when our oldest was in 4th grade, to the point where, like, okay, so we did it. And even then I was neutral. I didn't care if she wanted to homeschool, but it wasn't that valuable to me at the time. And then, but only because I didn't understand it and I hadn't really thought about it much. It just, never crossed my mind. So fortunately, my wife took that on and has done an amazing job at it, because it's a lot of work, and you know that.
Absolutely.
But she took that on, and then over the years, like, I've seen the value in it, and so I'm a big proponent of it, and everybody should homeschool. But it wasn't that way in the beginning.
Yeah. For me, it was interesting because at the time when we started having kids, I worked for University of Phoenix, and so I was basically checking applications of people who wanted to enroll in University of Phoenix, and University of Phoenix would always deny a homeschooler.
Really?
Without any question. It was like, homeschooled, no go. And so my first introduction into homeschooling was a really, like, kind of negative thing, because I thought my kids couldn't go anywhere if we did. In fact, that actually kept one of my really good friends, who still works for University of Phoenix, I kept his wife from being able to homeschool their kids.
Wow.
Because he was so fearful of them not being able to get into a university. Which now, being, 14 years into, being a dad, and I think my oldest daughter is going to be a sophomore, I believe. We don't really pay attention, right? We have no idea. I know for a fact that, like, I have friends whose kids have gotten full ride scholarships to ASU and any university that they choose, because their SAT scores were off the charts. Even though our intent is not to make geniuses necessarily, we just want them to be educated biblically, and also the elements of education that we want to focus on, and we want them to be able to do what they want to do, instead of having to do boatloads of homework after they get home from school. But it was just interesting that was my first introduction, and then, fast forward to the years where she started going to school, we just were like, no, we'll just keep her home. She never stepped foot in a public system, and we ended up just deciding to homeschool all 4 of our kids, and it certainly isn't easy. I cannot say that I have anything to do with it. My wife does every bit of it, and there are days where we have conversations of, is this what we still do? Do we still want to do this? And I always help her get back to, where we want our kids to end up, and that helps bring her back down. But there are times where it's super hard.
Yeah, for us, we purposely have encouraged them not to go to college. That's a whole nother rabbit hole, but it's
Absolutely.
like the biggest lie perpetrated on our generation is that the only way to be successful is to go to college and give them all your money and then make your kids pay that debt off. It's just asinine.
Yeah, it's insane, because not only that, but if you look at CEOs of companies that are making a difference today, almost all of them are college dropouts.
Well,
Or
most
didn't
business
even-
owners, like the actual
even-
successful
yeah.
people that are making the money, are owning the business. And so that's been my only focus, is to guide my kids into business. That's why we started this Pliables franchise, is to bring our kids into business with us. I was blessed to work with my parents, and I still do. And I started out in the family construction company. I actually I had a full ride academic scholarship to ASU. It was all free, and I would have came out as
You're way smarter than me.
School was easy for me. I didn't have to work. I just showed up and I understood everything. So it was never an issue for me. Like, I didn't have to work at school, and so I had a full ride. But between the freshman and sophomore year, I found I did an internship, and everyone there was unhappy. They were divorced, or they were getting divorced, and they were cheating on each other. It was going to be 10 years at least before I actually managed a project. And I was like, what? I'd been running my own business since I was 16. My dad helped me build a trailer, and I would go out and bid jobs, like, in person, and write out a proposal right there and hand it to him and run the job, order the concrete. All of it. And I'd been doing that for 5 years already by the time I got to college. And it's like, why would I want to go to work for someone else? So I went into business with my dad, and that was a good choice. And so anyways, here we are. My oldest is graduating, and we started this business just for him and his brothers and sisters, and then my nieces and nephews, so that they all could come into business with us.
Now, talk a little bit about why you didn't continue, because you guys still have the construction company, but why you chose not to go in, massive scaling of that business that you're already super, successful in.
I'll back up a little bit. I remember my youth pastor, he was talking to us. So I was in high school. He's asking us what we wanted to do. And I told him I wanted to own multiple businesses. And that's where I've ended up at. We own multiple businesses. But the reason that we got into another business versus trying to make one business bigger is because that medium-sized company is actually pretty easy to run, and you don't have to get into large-scale projects. So for us to be a big enough concrete contractor or general contractor to support 8 kids between me and my brother coming into the business at hopefully management level, that's a giant corporation. That's like $100 million a year, or who knows what. Mm-hmm. And that level of construction, man, no way. I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
So starting another business allows us to not have to scale one up to where it's like the top 1% size wise. We can just be a medium sized company and make plenty of money and just start another one. And then the added benefit is that it's in a different vertical. So now when construction slows down, food generally doesn't follow the same path. And so we'll just be spread out and diversified in our businesses more, so that when one goes down, the other one doesn't, and we won't have another downturn like in 2008 or some of those times.
And so in '08, like, what was it like for you guys? Because you work in a different landscape of construction, and were you in that same business in the '08 crash?
No, so I was pretty one-dimensional in '08. We just did concrete, and I had my dad had sent me out, and I ran all the housing crews. So I did house foundations, and I ran the crew doing that. But I would consider myself very one-dimensional. I knew concrete, and that was it. I didn't have any other trades, any other skills besides being generally handy. But when '08 happened, I had to start saying yes to everything. So if somebody called me and were like, "Hey, I need some pavers or block work or any," it started in landscaping, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I can do that." And then YouTube, installing pavers was actually the first thing that I ever learned on YouTube, and it was like 2009 or 10, and I learned how to do pavers on YouTube, and then from there I just kept having people ask me, and I was hungry for work, trying to feed my family, and so they'd ask me like, "Hey, can you do this?" And I had a dentist that I was working for, and he asked me if I could build a bathroom, and I'd never built anything like that in my life. It was a 10 by 10 outdoor bathroom next to his pool, and had a full bathroom inside where people would change, had an outdoor shower. It was like stuccoed and roofing, everything it took in any other house, it needed in that one little bathroom. And so that was actually, I wouldn't change it now, even though those were hard times, but that's the reason we became a general contractor, is because we learned all those things. Like suddenly now it's like, well, shoot, let's just go get our general contractor's license, because we know how to do all the trades now. I can build a whole house by myself, not as fast as if I hire a tradesman, but I can do all the trades, and I understood how they work together. And so we got our general contractor's license in 14 or something, somewhere in that era, 2014 ish. And that was nice, because over time, what we've ended up using that for is just for our own benefit. Mm-hmm. Because that's one thing that I realized is being a general contractor, it kind of sucks. It's not the pinnacle of, oh, now you've made it and now you're the GC. And that's how you think when you're the subcontractor, like the concrete guy.
Right.
They take on all the liability.
Yep.
And their hand's not on it anymore. So they're trusting someone else to do it right. And if the other person messes up, again, it's their liability. They're the one responsible for it. And they don't really make that much money, like maybe 20%, like if you're lucky.
Well, and 20% is, in a business sense, is a good profit margin. When in restaurants it's like 4%. So
yeah, but if you have like
if you have 10 restaurants,
a $9,000 remodel, you're going to make, $900 or $1,800 if everything goes right. And then if one thing goes wrong, you don't make any money. So now you got to have
all on you.
10 projects going. Anyway, we typically, now we have fairly high margins in general because we've niched down and what we do in concrete, but we have like 50% margins. So it's tough to make a living at 20% in construction. You're just constantly looking for more work and trying to get more work and trying to keep going.
Yeah. All right, let's that was a good run. It was 20 minutes.
Not bad.
That's sweet. Let's do number 2, the 5 a.m. dad. Winning before breakfast. Do you wake up and eat?
It's funny because me and you don't wake up at the same time.
We really don't.
But, it doesn't really make a difference. Just your breakfast is at a different time than my breakfast. I'm generally up. My alarm goes off at 4 every day. And I don't eat breakfast very often. Usually I have just coffee. And then I very rarely eat breakfast. I don't know. I generally feel better if I skip breakfast. Just doesn't really add a whole lot. And I definitely try not to eat very many carbs if I do have breakfast.
So I have 2 hard-boiled eggs.
That's a good way to start.
Right away in the morning. I typically my alarm goes off at 5:30, and I don't get out of bed until about 6:30. Today was 6:45. I got to the gym at 7:30, and then I was on my way over here by I can't remember what time, 9:45 or 10. Got here at 10:30. A lot of my time is spent traveling because all of my jobs are typically pretty far away from me, just in the opposite direction. My clients don't build in the West Valley at all. They build in the East Valley,
Yeah.
and the Northeast Valley, and then Central Phoenix, like Arcadia and Paradise Valley. So I have to. So I've figured this out. We've probably read all of the same books, the 5 a.m. Club, Buy Back Your Time, all the different books that are telling you to wake up at, not the butt crack of dawn, because you're awake well before the sun comes out. But I just can't do it. But I also go to bed. Last night was close to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I was in bed at 9.
So waking up at 4 makes sense when you go to bed at 9, but like my kids weren't even home yet. My wife and kids did not get home until 11 last night because they were at Mesa Arts Center preparing for their show. And this is just the week of chaos for our family. My kids are heavily involved in theater and acting and music, and they're doing a Descendants play. I think you guys are coming to it.
I'm sure we probably are.
It'll be opening nights tonight. But so this week, Tuesday through Sunday now, they'll be there until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, working through their play. They open tonight, and so they'll have one show tonight, tomorrow, 2 on Saturday, and then 1 on Sunday, and they'll be done with their show. But this is the the culmination of a semester of really hard work for them. My daughter got the second lead in the show. This is her first time, in a lead role, which is a really big deal for her. And we're just waiting for the show to start now. And they don't get home. And my wife and I have to have a conversation before we go to bed. That's just kind of our routine. No matter what time it is, it could be, she's home at 1 o'clock. That just means we're not getting to bed until 3 o'clock in the morning, because we always, sit down and kind of decompress, either talk about our schedules, talk about things. I know Dan Martell talks about all of these different things that he does preparing for his next day. I mainly just talk to my wife to help her decompress from the day and what's about to happen. And that's it. Like, we go to bed at the same time, and we don't deviate from that. It's not like she crawls into bed at 11 and I'm already asleep at 9. Do you guys fall asleep and wake up at the same time together?
Yeah, I wore an Aura ring for about a year, something like that. And it was interesting. It allowed me, it taught me a lot of things. After a while, you realize you don't need it anymore. But I learned probably mostly how valuable sleep was in that, and how it affected my day. And so since then, I'm very focused on making sure I get to bed and wake up somewhere in that circadian rhythm, time frame. You got some time around entry and exit, but we've always gone to bed at the same time. Sometimes she'll take a bath and I'll go to sleep, but for the most part, we always go to bed together.
You have a bath?
You don't have a bath?
No, we don't. Well, we have a bath, yes. But,
Okay.
like, it's for the kids. We don't have one in our master bathroom.
That's funny.
Hey.
I would have never put one in there, but my wife loves them, and like, okay. I'm not a bath guy.
Well, I don't know if I am because I've never been in one.
You know, it's funny. Morning routines are interesting because some people really need a routine, and then other people don't. There's an Alex Hormozy video where he's making fun of the Ashton Hall guy, which I've been watching him blow up on Instagram lately. And
Who is this guy?
Ashton Hall. Yeah, he's so about a month ago I found him, and he's a like a fitness coach type guy, and he'll help you like become a fitness coach. Although he doesn't anymore because he's got too many followers, but he had like 7.5 million followers, and then he's like 15 million now. Like I guess I just happened to find him right at the beginning of it because he had been slowly building to that.
Right.
But since then he's been like had Mr. Beast on, like he just exploded, and his videos actually aren't even that entertaining. Like I'll watch it just because he's on my feed and I'm like curious what he's doing, but he doesn't do anything. He doesn't provide any value. It's just literally him running in slow motion with all of his muscles and then doing his routine.
That guy.
So he wears like mouth tape. He dunks his water or his face in Saratoga ice water, you know, with lemons in it. And then there's been a bunch of spinoffs where people have done that.
Yep.
And then he'll go and work out, and then he'll go sit in the bath and like take a bath, and he's always got someone like handing him food. So he's got like a personal chef or executive assistant that's doing all the stuff for him. But it's funny watching him because that's his routine, and that's great, and that's what made him popular is people are interested in seeing, well, what's this guy do? Like, this guy's healthy, he's got a lot of muscle, he's fit. You know, he's an ex-NFL player. I don't think he was ever that successful in the NFL, or maybe he never got there, but he became a fitness coach and has been very successful at it, like, you know, really good. And so people are interested in that. But then on the flip side, Alex Hormozy is like the opposite of that.
Right.
I'll hear him cut down people's routines all the time because he doesn't have a routine. He just works, and he literally wakes up. He doesn't set an alarm to wake up. He sets an alarm to go to sleep. So when his body's done sleeping, he wakes up and he works, and then he goes to bed. He's either working or he's reading or he's sleeping.
Alex doesn't have any kids.
No. And like, so my book about balance, like there's everybody finds their balance, but like his life is out of balance. Right. And I feel bad for him. I feel sorry for him because there'll be a point where work won't fulfill him anymore, and he'll end up alone, and he won't have any kids to share his life with or to see his grandkids with. Like that day's coming, you know, and I actually feel bad for him. And it's cool what he's created, but it's out of balance. And so all I'm getting at though with Alex is he talks about people like look to the guru, like, oh, you know, what's my routine? And they'll spend like 2 hours in the morning with this routine, and they cold plunge and they shower and they sit in the sauna and they meditate and they stretch and then they do the thing and they work out and they have the right, like the certain breakfast.
Yep.
Sometimes you get caught up thinking that the routine is what's going to make you successful, and it's not. Like, sometimes you just sit down and go to work. Like, you don't need all this stuff, like all these things. Like it should just be simple. I mean, I wake up and I have coffee, I read the Bible, and I always have lots of stuff to do, but that's what I start with. And then I go to work and I do whatever it is that I need to do that day.
And when do you go to the gym?
Well,
how often do you go?
So Dan Martell, one of his 5 non-negotiables is I have to work out 7 days a week. But he also has ADHD, and so his whole thing is to work the body to tame the mind. For me,
I have ADLD.
What's that?
Attention deficit lazy disorder.
You know, I don't think I'm definitely not lazy. Once I decide I'm going to do something, I don't have any trouble doing it. I just make the decision and then I do it. But for me, 7 days a week, my body needs a day of rest, and I don't have ADHD, so I don't need the workout to help me focus, because that's what he's doing. He's
Right.
literally trying to burn the energy out of himself so that he can focus on work, and that's great. But I don't have any trouble with focus, so I still work out 6 days a week. At least that's always my goal. Tuesday we went to the Aspire event, so
Yep.
it's a 12-hour event. I couldn't make it to the gym that day, but I either go at 6 in the morning with my wife when she goes, or I just fit it in my day whenever I'm, in the area. I stop by and go there. Like today, I'll be going to the gym when we're done.
Yeah. I don't know if I have ADD. I definitely have trouble focusing. So I'll put on, like if I need to actually work, I'll put on music, and start like editing. A lot of what I do is editing content that I've already shot. I've worked with the same guys for several years, and so I have backlogs of all of their custom homes that they've been building over the last 5 years. And so I have dirt to fully completed, 25,000 square foot houses. I have pretty much every stage in between. So if I had a long enough time frame, I could, go. I haven't always time lapsed, but I am time lapsing one house right now. But I have similar footage that I'm able to chop together to show where it was and where it is now. But I have to. I've learned that I need to have some kind of like focus music. So I just go to YouTube and type in ambient focus music or beats.
Something to keep you from being distracted.
Because if I'm I can't work at home. I've learned that because my kids want to be with me. But I also can't work at a coffee shop with a bunch of people all over the place unless I'm like kind of focused on what I'm listening to and what I'm doing. If I can get into that zone of focus and I give myself time limits. So like when I'm creating a short form piece of content, I give myself a 20-minute window. Because the content that I need to deliver doesn't need to be absolutely mind-blowing in the edit. It's the space is already mind-blowing. So I try to deliver good quality footage that people can hear, or not hear, but that people can see without them being distracted by the edit. Because that's the most annoying thing to me nowadays is we have all of these great video editors out there doing stuff, but the most annoying thing is when you think that we have such a short attention span on a real estate video when we're trying to see what's happening in the space, and everybody's like cutting up these videos so fast, and they're zooming in, speed ramping into all of these different, rooms that aren't connected, and you can't get an understanding of what the space feels like. So you watch it again to try to understand what you've just witnessed over again. And that's the only it's a completely self-serving way to edit videos, because everybody wants to be this cool video editor. And I'm like, I don't even want to edit video. Like, I'm not going to edit this. I'm going to upload it to Dropbox and send it to my editor, and I'm going to go, I don't even want to see it. This is one thing that I've adopted from Dan. Is Dan will not watch any of his videos. He just says, put it up. He has given his team the ability to just go, if it was good enough, put it up. And that's the way that this is going to go. I'm not going to watch because we're on 36 minutes at this point. We have a 50-minute time frame. I'm not going to watch the 50 minutes if we make it that far, because I'm not going to waste my time worrying about what is going on with it. So
in the videos I've edited, that's what I've had to force myself to do, because I will continually perfect it, because it'll never really be good enough. Like, I'm never going to get to that point. And so I keep editing and editing, and I finally get to the point where I just have to say, all right, it's enough. And then I stop. And then I always have like a handful of things where I'm like, I missed that shot, or it might even be a duplicate shot, like in the beginning of the video and the end of the video. I'm like, dang it, I missed that one, but
Right.
It's like, it's fine.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if, obviously we're in your, your space that you built yourself with your own hands. But I'm not even worried about how, because we could actually make this place look really rad, like if we wanted to. But this is our first time doing this, and I'm not even going to worry about how it looks, because I just got a cramp. I just need to get it out. Like, that's the only worry.
I started posting on Instagram every day, not because I thought I knew what I was doing, but because I knew that I didn't know what I was doing, and the only way to get good at something is to do it. So I just started putting anything up, and it's gotten better over time, where I like understand, like, oh, this is what I need. Or when I'm doing the recording, I know exactly when I get the right take, or I got enough pieces that I'll combine them later. Like so you just get good by doing it. And if you waited until you're good at it, you would never actually get good at it. That's the whole point.
Well, so this kind of takes us to a whole nother topic of, so like 5 years ago, I actually went back into my TikTok history, and it was 2020. And so this is actually probably, 2018. I had this idea. I was teaching a video production class at our homeschool co-op. At the time, the branches that we were going to was in like Central Phoenix. There are several locations of branches. We go to the same branches. But I was working with a company in Phoenix, and the owner of that company, his wife was close friends with my wife, and they homeschooled as well. And so we found branches, and my friend and I were like, hey, let's teach a class at branches. And I was like, I'll teach a video production class. And my friend taught a 3D printing or woodworking class. I can't remember what. He has lots of interests. And so I taught this video production class. And while I was in this video production class, I challenged my students to create before you consume. And I felt like God gave me that, it just felt like he delivered that to me. You could say it however you want. But I feel like God was like, hey, here you go. This is a really cool idea. This is a really cool concept. And I was like, man, thanks. That's really rad. Similar to my we're all mental idea. This was another one. Like, hey, get over your mental hump of, trying to be perfect, trying to be, absolutely spot on every time, and just start putting stuff out. Wake up, create something, and then move about your day. But you got to create before you consume any kind of content. And I ended up just kind of not doing anything with it. And I was listening to Gary Vee one day, and he had this chick on named Marie Forleo. And Marie was like, yeah, I was in this season where I was just consuming content all the time. And I felt like this all of a sudden I had this idea of create before you consume. And I was like, you jerk. You stole my idea. And in that moment when I thought, you jerk, I felt like God tapped me on the shoulder and was like, no, I gave it to her because you did nothing with it.
Interesting.
And I was like, go. And I was just like taken back. And I was upset. And he was like, I gave it to somebody that would actually follow through with it. And I was just like heartbroken. And I think that this is kind of an effort of me. Like, I've been in this content creation game for other people for a long time. I love personal branding. I've taught personal branding classes. In fact, in our co-op at Branches in Central Phoenix, I had these kids. They were so awesome. And I taught a personal branding class, and one of the girls took what I taught her to the biggest, like, she's like, thank you. You gave me permission to do this. She has over 2 million followers on TikTok. I think almost 1 million on Instagram, 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. And she makes a living much higher than me on her personal brand. And I actually met with her about 8 weeks ago, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, teach me your ways. And she's like, I just did what you told me. And I was like, that's not what I wanted to hear. Because I needed something different. But like, she took what I taught her and just amped it up. And I was like, man, if I just would have followed her trajectory the same way at that time and did it for myself, I would be leaps and bounds ahead. But obviously, this is where we start actually making a difference in that. And, you know, I've been helping people build their personal brand for years, and now it's time to focus on mine, and put some effort into it, and we'll do it together.
Yeah. So what are you doing specifically?
It's a good question.
Doing this podcast.
Yeah, we're starting this one. I actually started going through my like TikTok history, going back to all of my different thoughts and stuff that I've had that I just threw up on TikTok and they didn't really go anywhere. But like this idea of like, I just need to do it. I just need to start executing. And I'm actually super annoyed by the world of overproduction. This is why I'm totally okay with sitting in a room. Clearly it's an air-conditioned space, or else we would be sweating profusely. But I think people are desperate for real people. And, you know, we could dim the lights and cover the windows and light it where we have, you know, pink and purple and blue and all these different colors behind us, and then we're all well lit. Like, I have all those things. But like, there's so many people out there that just think that that's what they have to have to do it. And the thing is that when you get started, you're not going to be good at it. And there's a lot of people that get super worried. Almost everybody gets worried that everybody's going to see your failures. And they're going to see you not being good.
I think that authenticity is what people are craving. And the one thing I think that AI is going to push people towards is that craving for authenticity and things that are real. Because everything that's going to start happening over the next few years with AI is going to become increasingly fake. and like made up, and you'll see a video and you have to really watch it now. Like, is that a real? Is that giraffe really on the cliff? You know, where they're trying to lift it with a crane? Like, did this really happen? And sometimes you have to go to the comments and like, all right, what do other people think about this? Trying to figure out, is this a real shot? Because if it is, this is crazy. But I don't believe it because it just doesn't feel real. And I think that is going to make personal brands even more valuable over the next 5 to 10 years, because people that they have a real connection with and that they see their mistakes, they see them just doing whatever, they'll have that emotional connection to them, and that's what people are going to be looking for. You know, one of the things that I'm trying to build with our brand in Pliables is I have to start posting my own stuff personally about our shop and what we're doing. And there's a guy at the Aspire course, he was talking about it. He had 2 different scenarios. You have the real estate agent that posts on Saturday, have an open house tomorrow, you know, $1.5 million. Then you have the real estate agent that all week long, they just post little stories and they're like, hey, I'm replacing the toilet today. And, you know, this happened. And, oh, hey, we're trying to figure out the tile, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, comment below if you like this one or this one. So you have this like little personal stories all week long. Well, the person that they have the real estate agent that people have that personal connection to, like they feel like they've been part of building this house now. Yeah. It's the same house. They're telling their friends, they're like, I think I know somebody that would be interested in that. And they're like talking to other people, like they're sharing it, like they're interested, they're involved, then they have this personal connection. Yeah. So the better I can build that personal connection at Pliables, the better our brand will do, because that's not hard to do. I can just record when I'm there. And even today, I forgot when I was there, but like, here's what I'm doing today, and this is the problems. Like, I could have had a post today about about what we're dealing with the city county health department, right? Like, trying to figure out what do they need from us and why are they sitting on our plans. And, you know, I could have talked about that today. I didn't, but it's on my short list of things that I'm getting better at. So
yeah. Well, that's what as we wrap up this, because we're almost out of time on this Zoom pod track. When I start with a client, what I always shoot for is consistency. So trying to find the content in everything that you're doing, because the consistency is not necessarily the end result. What we're doing is we're trying to start to develop the thought process, the comfortability on camera, and everything that they're doing, so that way their mind starts to think content rather than overthinking it. I don't care if it's perfect. I don't care if it's great. Just get out there and do it. And that's what you need to do, because we need to establish the consistency before anything else.
And that's the authentic side. They want, like, people don't mind seeing you mess up. That actually draws them in. Yeah.
Well, I think that's it.
All right.
Because I think we're out of time in many seconds. Hey, thanks for listening to this podcast. I don't know how to put it up, but it's at least going to go to YouTube. I don't know where else, but thanks for listening.
Well, thanks for having me on your first podcast.
Dude, thanks for being here. I don't even know how to do this.
Well, there's only one way to find out. You got to do it.
Yep.
The world's built by those who build.
Yep. Luck is not real. Just take massive action. So, here we go. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Let's do it again.